Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cancer August 2021 Spiritual Connection reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. So this is one of 3 connection readings that I complete each month for each sign that focuses on some aspect of self-awareness and how to engage your unique, authentic self with your external environment and the unique internal, authentic selves of others around you. So this reading specifically is going to take a look at your energy, as well as the energy of your external environment, and then any blocks that might be occurring that are preventing you from engaging authentically with your external environment to be able to unlock a unique aspect of yourself that's not only going to be able to allow you to feel and experience your place and purpose, but also to allow the external environment and the collective experience to benefit and for you to be of service to their greater potential. So this is all in an effort to help you be able to experience that sense of belonging and be able to experience emotional fulfillment from the actions that you take in your external environment. All right, Cancer. So we're going to start with pulling a card to take a look at the energy you're currently sitting with. Ooh. So we have the Two of Pentacles. So the Two of Pentacles is a card kind of like what you can see in this picture. It's a card that denotes juggling a little bit. This is when we kind of get caught up in the day-to-day, the small tasks. And it can be a card that signifies distraction. It can also be a card that signifies or denotes some type of choice that needs to be made as to where better to focus your energy. Because if you notice, it's an individual juggling 2 identical pentacles. And so there's this quality here of perhaps making a choice between one or the other, as they are both equal, and dedicating time towards one instead of trying to juggle both. Now, just intuitively, as I look at this, I really get this feeling of almost this kind of wishful desire. And I never really noticed that before when I've looked at this image in this traditional Rider-Waite tarot, but it almost looks like this individual is looking longingly at the one pentacle in his hand. And that's what's coming through for me here, is that there's this element here that you're doing a lot. You're kind of juggling your day-to-day, possibly feeling exhausted or tired or drained, but that there's one specific place that you really would love to be able to focus your attention. And that if you had this beautiful ability to just drop everything else, you'd really want to be able to focus on nurturing one thing in your environment right now. So I'm getting a little bit of this kind of energy of, you know, when I was sitting with your energy, when I was shuffling your cards, what came through, and I know this might sound a little funny, but what came through was children going down a water slide and having fun and almost being at in a birthday party type setting. And there was this quality of just wanting to have that kind of pure, unadulterated, childlike sense of fun again. Now, when I'm seeing that kind of coupled with this card here, I get this almost like wishing of, I don't want to take on all, I would love to be able to drop all these little tasks that I'm juggling so that I could kind of fall into that energy again. So for those of you that message might resonate with, that's what was coming through before I actually started pulling cards. All right. Now we're going to take a look at the energy of your external environment to see really what Spirit is asking you to engage with. This is really where and what, if you choose to kind of get over the perhaps hurdles that are going to be showing up here, in the cards that I pull in a moment, you'll be able to, the energy you'll be able to step into. Let's see, what is your external environment asking you to engage with? What does Cancer need to know about their external environment? I apologize. This is taking a little bit longer. Sometimes this happens. Let's see. What does Cancer need to know about their engaging? Ooh. Now I see perhaps maybe why it was so long in coming out. So we have the Tower. The Tower is a card, and for those of you, I don't know if you can see this, I apologize. This is one of my favorite decks, but it is super small, and I know the images are hard to see. But the Tower is a card that focuses on the divine stepping in to help us basically tear down faulty, I could say, structures. As you can see here, this is literally a tower being zapped by lightning and everything kind of falling to ruin. But there's this quality here of the Tower comes in when we have not wanted to make a change ourselves, when we've been given every opportunity to make changes within our life that will facilitate growth in some aspect that Spirit, the divine destiny, is asking us to open ourselves up to. And the Tower happens when we have decided not to do that, when we have decided to stay kind of clinging to our safety nets and our security of routine and the status quo. And this can look like, as an example, us needing to realize that it's time for us to move from one job into another, or from one place of living to another. And we are given all of these opportunities to make that choice on our own, but we decide not to. We decide to stay at a job that no longer supports us, that we don't like, that doesn't challenge us. And even though we have opportunities to move to a new job, we choose to stay in the one strictly out of the fact that, well, at least I know I'm getting a paycheck. At least I know, it's kind of the better the devil you know than the devil you don't kind of, situation here. And what happens is that eventually Spirit's going to come in and say, no, we don't want you sitting with any devil, actually. We want to shake things up so that you continue to move and be able to feel that sense of liberation and growth and be able to continue to evolve, to discover your highest potential in life. And so that's kind of what's going on in your external environment right now. And I get this feeling between these two energies that there's this quality of almost using the small day-to-day tasks as the excuse to not face the big change that needs to come in. And that you're getting to that point of self-realization to where you're starting to notice where you want to focus your energy and what's really starting to stand out and hold value, but you're still not willing to let go of the other things that are getting in that way. And what Spirit is really asking you to do is to face the challenges, to either be able to release the things that do not serve you any longer, to be able to free you up to have one hand, basically, or two hands to be able to work with this. Otherwise, there is going to be a little bit of this shakeup. So let's see what's going on here in the middle. So now I'm going to pull cards to take a look at what I like to call the void. So in the description box below for this reading, I have two video segments linked that discuss the Triad of Engagement. And that's a coaching tool that I've created where I focus on discussing how working with the principles of curiosity and courage and contemplation can help you navigate across this void that we create for ourselves to basically hide behind so that we don't have to engage our vulnerable, internal, unique, authentic parts of ourselves with our external environment. And why do we do that? Because at some point as we moved from childhood into adulthood, we tried to bring out, way too many cards there. We tried to bring out, but this one fell on the floor, so I'm gonna take that. We tried to bring out some unique part of ourself, and it might not have been received well. It might have been laughed at or ridiculed, or perhaps we tried to work with an ability and we failed. And instead of continuing to work with those parts of ourselves, we instead created a barrier, a mask. And all those layers of masking then becomes this void where we basically protect those parts of ourselves from ever being seen and engaging with our external environment. Okay, so Cancer. Let me just go over the cards that came out here. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Moon, the King of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, and the Prince of Wands, which in this deck is the Knight of Wands in the traditional tarot. So, the Wheel of Fortune, this card here is your challenge. And what I'm seeing here is specifically, so when we think of the Wheel of Fortune is a great card. It's a card that denotes movement. It's a card that denotes generally positive movement when it's in the upright position like this. But where this can become a block is when the energy is moving and spirit's coming in and the opportunities are lining up, and we are too busy with the mundane things to kind of want to jump into the flow. This is when we start to focus more on, well, I have to clean the house and go grocery shopping and answer 25 emails and instead of realizing kind of the elephant in the room, which is that there's some aspect of your life right now which is bigger and more important than the sum of all of those little tasks. And by focusing on that aspect of your experience, that is really what's going to allow you to jump into the flow, to take advantage of the Wheel of Fortune that's moving, to be able then to see all of these beautiful opportunities that are lining up for you to basically help propel you into either the next chapter of your life or to be able to help you be in flow with this aspect of self that really needs to be engaged with your external environment now, because this is going to really help you to be able to better feel your place and purpose and to be of service in some capacity to your external environment. Now with the moon coming up directly next to us, the moon is the unknown. Now Cancer, you are a sign actually ruled by the moon. And so you're no stranger to working with the energy of the moon in general, which can denote, a tie to your intuition. But in the tarot, it also can bring up this element of having to kind of walk a path on faith. As you can see here, there is the moon, and it's calling up in this image a lobster coming out of the water. And I always get this feeling when I see this card specifically with this little image, is that it's almost like being called up and out of a situation that's very familiar to you, just like the lobster is very familiar in the water. But then you're being called up through an intuitive knowing to have to walk out into a kind of uncharted, unknown environment that is unfamiliar to you. And there's this quality of being asked for you to walk past what you've already known and beyond on faith. And these two together kind of, for me, show that there's this quality of, because there's this lack of clarity and because there's a little bit of this having to go beyond what you currently know into the unknown, that this is also a point as to why you are not really kind of jumping into the flow of this forward moving energy, because you're not quite sure where it's going to take you. And you're not quite sure as well, again, how to navigate this new land. You know, the lobster's going to come out of the water and see these mountains in the distance and all of this kind of shadowy landscape. And he or she is going to look at that and go, what the heck? I don't even know if I want to go out there. And yet you're being called. That's the intuitive portion of this. And because Cancer, you work with your intuition. That's your superpower. There's this element of almost being unable to kind of escape the call, but you're resisting by distracting yourself through all of these little tasks. Now at the center of your reading, you have the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is a card of someone who has mastered being able to manifest in the physical world. This is somebody who is, you can see he's holding a pentacle in his hand. And this actually makes me think, now so he's holding actually a pentacle in his hand and a pentacle in his other hand as well. But there's this quality that kind of mirrors this card here, where it's almost like he's chosen. He's put one down and he's picked one up, and there's this quality on his face of, that was the right decision. I knew which pentacle I needed to invest in. And boy, was it the right decision because of what I've been able to manifest from that. And so kind of at the crux here is being able to step into this energy, to realize that right now, this is the energy you can actually harness. That you're being asked to move with the Wheel of Fortune, with this forward moving energy, to walk this path on faith, because it's going to allow you to capitalize on that one beautiful pentacle, that golden opportunity that you really would love to be able to focus all of your attention on, but you feel right now perhaps that you can't because it's a little scary. And Spirit's asking you, Spirit's actually reminding you that you are the King of Pentacles right now. You have this ability. You're already working with the energy of being able to manifest abundance in your physical world. But you have to realize that. In between you feeling like this and you stepping into this is this. The fear of the unknown. And there's this quality, you know, it's funny when I think back to, you know, kind of going on, the kids going on a water slide and, you know, going into the pool. There's a quality to that of kind of getting swept up. It's almost like, even if you know that by jumping into, let's say for any of you have been to a kind of a lazy river type thing. Once you jump in, you're going to be carried with the current. And so there is this quality of, I understand that fear of, even if you know that where you're being carried to is going to be abundant and wonderful and allow you to capitalize on the one aspect of yourself that you really want to focus on, it's still scary. There's still that quality of having to kind of let go, to jump in and allow that wheel to kind of shoot you forward. And that involves a lot of change and a lot of trust and a lot of faith. And a lot of faith in Spirit and the divine. Now, on the other side of the King of Pentacles is the Six of Pentacles, which is beautiful. The Six of Pentacles is a reminder that what we put in, we get back. It's basically a minor arcana version of the Justice card, the major arcana card of Justice in the tarot, where it is showing that beautiful balance in life. And what will happen is, if you can kind of get over this block and trust in spirit, trust in the divine, trust in destiny, and meet it with your free will to leap into the flow, that what you focus on will end up reaping the reward. Now, this also focuses too on the concept that at any given time in our lives, we will be in a position where we will be able to give to another. And that at another point in our life, we will be in a position where we will need to receive from another. And so perhaps there's also this quality here of realizing that those energies will be balanced out as well. That perhaps you've been in a place where you've been giving and giving and giving and giving, and you're like, I can't give anymore. I've given too much, and I can't keep giving here. And what the energy is saying is, you're right, and that energy will be returned to you. So it's not about having to keep giving and giving and giving and giving. It's now about just focusing on where you want to place your energy, and all of that hard work and energy you've already been giving to others will be returned to you on this side. But you have to walk this path on faith. And we have the Three of Pentacles. Now, the Three of Pentacles is another beautiful card. And I keep, there's a lot of pentacles here. You're really working with the physical world right now. And pentacles denote, the financial aspects of our experience. They denote anything that we can kind of touch and build and create. And the Three of Pentacles is where we are now taking, excuse me. It's where we take our pentacle and we get a chance now to start to work with others to build what we would love to see built. This is where we get that chance to really be able to, from a place of creativity, start to build fresh. Start to build what we see in our mind's eye, but also with the help of others. So again, there's this element of you won't be alone in this building. Once you choose to focus and you trust in your own capabilities of manifestation here, there's going to be help for you on the other side. Help and rebuilding from this. This is the start of building your legacy. But building your legacy with the help of others who share your view, who share in what you want to create for yourself. And then we have the Prince of Wands, which is technically the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands in the tarot harnesses the energy of Sagittarius. It's the energy of the spiritual adventurer. The Knight of Wands is wonderful at moving and taking action towards what feels good from a place of inspired passion. He's going to be the one that comes in and joins in on this work site and says, hey guys, this is so exciting to see. This feels great. Like, why don't you put another pentacle up here? I've brought back some beautiful Persian rugs from my travel across the ocean here, and I'm back, and I think this will be beautiful if we hang this up over here. Like, he's one of those people who's gonna come in and add that fire, add that little extra touch. And it's also telling you that now is the time to take action from a place of passion. Yes, we can build and we can focus on creating and manifesting financial, tangible wealth, or whatever you consider wealth and of value to yourself. but he's a reminder of how you get there. And it's through inspired action. Action that comes from a place of passion, and one that's ready to go out there for the sense of adventure. Because what this is really showing you here is that if you, of your own accord, decide to make this decision, and I'm sorry, my voice is going. Take a drink of water. Hopefully I can get it to come back here. But if you really are able to come back to this place of you make the choice. You're not waiting for the destiny to come in and make that choice, that hard choice for you. You make it from a place of you know what you want. He knows what he wants. And you trust that you'll be able to basically build the new foundation. Well, you're actively participating now in the Wheel of Fortune. And the Tower, well, you can avoid this whole dramatic experience by simply being able to realize, oh, I don't have to wait for the Tower to be zapped and everything to fall to pieces. I can simply walk out of the Tower on my own free will, taking with me my pentacle. And I can build a new, fresh start. I can build what now really supports me. And I'm going to do that from a place of passion and a place of fun. That's really what the Knight of Wands is all about as well. He's the knight that's kind of known for being fun. He's that friend of yours that's always down for anything. You know, you're like, hey, I had somebody else drop out and I'm going to go to this concert. Do you want to join me? And he's the one who's always, or he or she's going to be the one who always says, yes, of course. Sign me up. Where do I need to go? And there is this element is if you can kind of get through that, trust in yourself, focus on the one area you know you really need to focus on, that you're not going to have to go through this dramatic Tower moment out here. That instead, the true Tower moment will be this internal knowledge of, wow, look at what I can create. I can manifest. I can make that choice for myself. This is that lesson in learning. Only you can make those choices for yourself. Only you are living your life. Only you can know between two identical pentacles which one is of value for you and which one isn't. And once you make that choice and you dedicate yourself fully to it, well, that's going to bring in your legacy. That's going to be what's going to bring in and rebalance everything and allow you to be able to start to build fresh with those who also see your new vision. Now, this could be working with your family. This could be working with a new work team. Really great energy. But, you know, as a reminder over here, you know, when you think about it, sometimes we think we are actually benefiting others or ourselves when we try to tackle everything ourselves. And we think, well, who can do it better than us? But in reality, we can't do everything 100%. It's just, we're not capable of it, or at least not for extended periods of time. And so there's always something that's going to suffer a little bit when we try to take on too much. And this is that beautiful lesson of learning, yes, we will always have to be at any given point juggling something. And that's really where this kind of infinity symbol comes from. But we don't have to deny our own ability to fully invest time, energy, and money towards one area. You know, if you think about it, you know, when you get stretched so thin, maybe there is this, you know, whether it's your family, maybe it's your children, and you really want to dedicate time and energy to being with your children, but you're too busy carrying on all these other little tasks. When in reality, if you would simply put down some of those tasks and focus on doing whatever you really want to focus on with your children, that's where either other people around you start to pick up those tasks. So that's really kind of that faith of having to know that the more you trust and step into this energy, the more things will balance out. So the more that you, let's say, you maybe are so involved in your children's school and you're so involved in some of these other things, but in reality, you just want to be at home with your kids. And you just want to be able to, maybe attend their soccer practice or be able to cook a dinner and sit down at the table with them and be able to have that, great conversation of what they did during the day. But yet you had committed yourself to all these other things. Well, as the more you start to focus on the one aspect that you really want to focus on, that your heart is asking you to, that your intuition is actually pulling you towards, the more others are going to pop up and say, oh, you know what? I noticed, you wanted to leave a little early. Why don't I take over, handing out the snacks after the soccer meet? Starting from this point forward, I'd love to do that. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I don't have to go. That's one task I can mark off my list. And then maybe your significant other at home is like, I've really been meaning to get back in. I really want to get on a health kick. And so I really would love to start cooking meals at home again. You said you wanted to have dinner every night and really start to sit down and have that family time. Well, how about I'm the one that cooks the meals because I want to test out my new healthy diet plan or whatever. And this is where we don't realize that just by simply refocusing our attention and stating our intention and moving fearlessly into working with it, that suddenly we're now working authentically with ourselves. And that's when everything comes into balance. And that's where flow comes from. And we don't even have to sit there and make this crazy plan of trying to delegate all these other little tasks. It's just simply, we make that decision, that conscious decision to focus our energy in one specific place. Now, this could also be in your work world, your work side to your life, where you're like, I've been juggling between my 9 to 5 and my side project, and you know what? I'm just going to start focusing on my side project. And the more I do that, the more I'll see what comes in for me. And maybe that looks like the more energy you start to put towards this versus this is when all of a sudden you start to have those kind of clients pop up out of nowhere. And they start to fill the gap in between the 9 to 5 and the new business that you're creating. Or you have people step in at work on your other side who start to say, hey, I've always wanted to tackle this one aspect of the job that you do. Would you be able to, help show me how to do it, and I can try it this month? This is where we just don't, it's like, it'll be surprising how sometimes easy it can be. Or when we start to focus more on here, when we state our intention, I want to leave my 9 to 5 to focus solely on my own personal business within 6 months, and I'm going to stick to that. Well, within 6 months, you'll be amazed at where all of these little things that are going to come in to help you build that business are going to come into alignment. And all of the tasks on this side will start to kind of fall away. But it's a hard thing to do. It's going into uncharted territory. But that is where walking with faith and taking action in accordance with yourself will reap those rewards, will reap the balance, will reap the benefits of return. Okay, so now I'm going to pull an additional 3 cards down here. A card for curiosity, courage, and contemplation. So we're going to engage now the Triad of Engagement to help provide you with a little bit more insight and some advice on how to really help navigate across, navigate across this barrier challenge, which is preventing you from making the big change that needs to be made. So curiosity is going to help us build in a question that's going to draw awareness to helping you take a different look at this challenge here. So we have the 7th chakra, which is Archangel Uriel, and we have the 6th chakra, which is Archangel Metatron. Now the 7th chakra is your crown chakra. It's the chakra that we get a chance to, or this is the chakra where we really are connecting with spirit. This is where we get kind of those divine downloads. And the 6th chakra is our 3rd eye. That really is working with the moon energy. That is working with intuition, something that Cancer you're very familiar with already. So when we're thinking about, and I love this image here where she's holding this book. And to me, this is the book of knowledge. This is representative of when we are in direct communication with spirit, we have the ability to tap into universal knowledge. And it's that reminder that actually all knowledge can come from within. There's a little bit of this high priestess quality that's coming through here. And when we're thinking about building out a question towards, really navigating across this wheel of fortune and the moon energy, the unknown kind of components here, both of these cards really focus on that connection to the divine, that connection to your intuition, that connection to knowledge that will help you basically jump over this. That with your connection to the divine, you don't have to worry about where you're being called to go. You just need to go there. And I know that sounds really kind of strange, but that's the beauty of being a Cancer, is that you get to hear and heed that call so much more clearly than the average person who does not have that kind of natural instinctual tie to their intuition. So the question I build out here is for yourself, where are you being called to focus? And what are the challenges? What are your specific challenges right now, your fears specifically, in moving towards what your intuition is calling you to focus on? And again, the answers for every one of us are going to be different. So this is where we get to kind of draw in from a general message into a unique message specifically for you. So a question again is really, where do you feel that your intuition is calling you to go, is calling you to pick between these two? If you could, it's kind of one of those things, if you could do anything, what would you do? If you could drop everything and focus on only one thing, what would that be? And what are the doubts surrounding and the fears surrounding simply following what is truly in alignment with yourself? Because then we're going to pull a card here for courage. And courage then is where we get a chance to say, okay, I realize now what I'm afraid of, but I know that I have to courageously take action. So what comes up for courage? We have surrender your desire to control people. It says being over-controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. And then we have surrender unhealthy relationships. It says let go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. You deserve to be treasured by others and to be surrounded by positive people. 2 great messages to remember actually at any given time, not just even in this reading. But when we're thinking about having courage to face the fears around taking action on behalf of our own internal authentic self, that element of controlling people, a lot of times I'll hear from people, or even, myself, I'll be like, I'm not trying to control others. But where we actually don't realize we're trying to control others is where we're kind of doing it in a passive aggressive way, or in a passive way where we're not even allowing the other person to have any input. This is where we will keep juggling day-to-day tasks, and because we are too afraid to release a task, in doing that, we're actually controlling another person. So let's say there's somebody who wants to come in and help with take some stuff off of our plate. But if we're sitting saying, no, I can do it better, like don't worry about it, we're actually trying to control what that other person does. And that other person may want to come in and take off 4 things off your plate, or help relieve you of this other pentacle. But because you're not allowing them to do that through your own action and through your own place of fear, you are actually not allowing them to come in and take their own action from their own place of authenticity. And you're trying to control what they do, or in an effective way. You're maybe not trying to do it in a conscious way, but you are attempting to control them. And so that's really where we have to be cognizant that when somebody else steps in and says, I would like to help, I would like to return the favor, I would like to, that we simply allow them to. If that's where they would like to take action, well, then we can let them. Now, this can also look like us being afraid of what others are going to think of us, of how they're going to react when we make that decision to focus on one aspect of our physical reality, or we decide to prioritize one thing over another, and where we want to control the reaction of somebody else. And the reality is we can't control somebody else's reaction. If you tell your place of work that you're currently looking for another job, or maybe that you found another one and you're moving towards that, well, they may not want you to go, but there's nothing that they can do about that once you've made your decision. That doesn't mean that they have to approve of your decision. It doesn't mean they have to be in support of it. Same thing if you're doing this in the home life. Your partner may not initially support your choice to focus on this pentacle. But trying to avoid having them have a negative reaction is not going to be any more helpful to you being able to achieve your goals around this and really step into the King of Pentacles. Instead, you're utilizing somebody else's reaction and trying to control it or the lack thereof as an excuse to not move on your own behalf or authentically with yourself. And then surrender unhealthy relationships. This is always just a great piece of advice, where if there are people in your life that are kind of the naysayers, who are telling you, no, you have to, if there are people in your life who are actually either telling you that you can't drop something off of your plate, or are the ones who are putting more and more and more on your plate, then this is where it's time to, as you courageously start to take action, courageously start to drop those people. Because that's the whole purpose of interacting with others and sharing that connection, is to be around people who are there to support you, to support what you're building next. And if that is not what the certain people in your life are there to do, if every time you try to interact with somebody and they bring you down or they add more to your plate, that's something where you have to walk away. And you do, I love how it says, you deserve to be treasured by others and to be surrounded by positive people. You do. because you are this capable King of Pentacles, and you truly deserve to be seen as such. Okay, and now we're going to pull one last card here for the concept of, or the principle of contemplation. And this is where we get to step into connecting the dots between where you were curious about yourself, the action that you decided to courageously take on your own behalf, and then we get to reflect and learn from the consequences of those actions. Contemplation is really where we get to continue to grow and evolve on a spiritual level. It's also where we get a chance to really ensure that we don't get stagnant, where we don't keep taking the same actions and getting the same responses and we're unaware. So contemplation is where we really tap into that awareness through reflection. So we have the crumbling, and it says, what are you clinging to? And if you think about it, doesn't that look very similar to this image? So there's this quality here of clinging to something you know needs to be let go to help you focus on this one pentacle that you will be able to really build and manifest around. That's going to bring everything into balance and allow you to continue to build towards this future legacy. But there's something here that you are clinging to. And what's interesting is that, you know, it's all dark out here. And the tower's opening up and starting to crumble, and it's just beautiful landscape on the other side. Now, you know that when you walk to the other side, it may not be everything that it seems to be here. But the one thing I can say is that it's going to be a heck of a lot better than where you are now. Because where you are now is in darkness. So no matter what's on the other side, it's going to be better. And your intuition, I think, is already telling you that. And then we have Keepers of the Earth. It says, you are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. And there is this quality here of, again, kind of that intuitive knowing, of that element of you're being called now to follow your intuition. And there is this, you know, true, real connection to the divine here, especially with the tower coming in out here. There's this element of destiny saying it is time, like almost trying to pull your hands off of holding on to the banister to get you to push you out the front door kind of thing. And you know most likely what you're clinging to. What you can contemplate on, though, is the why behind what you're clinging to. Is it because of security? Is it because you don't want to fail? Or you're afraid of success? Is it because you don't want to feel like you're disappointing others in your life or leaving some behind? And that could be something here, that maybe you have to leave an unhealthy relationship behind to be able to move forward and invest in this pentacle. Maybe this pentacle represents yourself. But only you can tell yourself that. But there is this element coming through of you are not alone. And if you can walk this path on faith, you will be rewarded. And you will be in control of walking through the tower instead of having to go through the storm. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull I'm going to pull one last clarifier card for your energy. Let's see if we get a real one coming out here. For your energy and the external energy, just to see if there's any final messages here. So we have Temperance and the Hanged Man. Ooh, and then we have Knight of Wands again. Same card here for the Tower. Okay, so Temperance and the Hanged Man. Temperance is a card of, I look at this as another card of divine balance, of getting things tempered, so to speak, of taking two aspects of yourself and bringing them together to temper them into something new. So there is this quality here with the Hanged Man as well. So the Hanged Man coming in is the energy of a divine pause to be able to see what currently is from a new perspective, from a perspective that's touched by the divine. So this is when the divine wants us to see something in a different light. And what I'm seeing here as this kind of interesting last piece of advice is maybe perhaps you don't have to drop one pentacle. Maybe that's the actual trick here, is that you can temper, you can take both of these. This might be two aspects of yourself, and you can bring them together to actually create something new, to create your own unique pentacle. But you have to be willing to see this from a different perspective. Now, this could be something, I'm trying to think of a good example of this. This could be where maybe you're juggling home life and work life. And you're like, but I really want to focus on maybe right now, you really want to focus on your work life. Maybe you were building a business, but suddenly everything in your home life is getting crazy. Maybe you are having another child, or your children are going through something, and your family actually requires a lot more attention, and yet in reality you want to grow and work a business or work on your career side of things. Well, this can say, well, you might not have to ditch one for the other. Instead, it's to stop and say, wait, how can I combine these two experiences together? With keeping in mind, I don't have to take on everything. I don't have to do all of these little mundane tasks. I just need to know what holds meaning and value for myself. And what this could look like is realizing, maybe by bringing in and including an aspect of your family life into your career, and by combining those two, you might hit on a new business idea. Or by getting your children involved with some aspect of your business, you get to bring in that time with your kids where you get to share quality time, but you're also showing them that you're taking action towards something that's important to you. Now, this kind of makes me think of, I just saw a commercial when I was watching, I think, the Food Network the other day, where they have a whole thing now, I think, on Saturday mornings, where it's famous chefs cooking on TV with their children. Now, this is kind of that interesting balance of, aha, wait a second, I don't have to fully separate the two. Or this could be the reverse, where perhaps you work outside of the home and now you're realizing, well, maybe I'm going to request to work inside the house. Or I'm going to move towards a job that I can actually work remotely so that I'm here with my family. And in doing that, suddenly you get, maybe you find a new job that allows you to work remotely. And that job is ends up being far more satisfying than the job you had previously. So this is where we get a chance to kind of take a look at what we're doing, what we're juggling. And this is a beautiful reminder that the divine can help us see a way to actually take everything and basically mush it together into one golden opportunity. And for the Knight of Wands to come up on the other side here, there's this element of liberation. This element of being able to just go out freely and do what you love. And if you are able to do that, really kind of lean into this energy. Now, this could also be a very specific message for one person out here, where maybe you are dealing with a Knight of Wands energy. And the Knight of Wands energy can also be kind of I'm trying to think of a good term. The positive, the highest energy value is really the spiritual adventurer, going out and taking action from a place of passion. But there is this quality that at the lowest level, it can also be somebody who is flighty, somebody who doesn't commit, somebody who likes one thing today and then tomorrow they're galloping away on their horse towards something else. So there is this element here of maybe grounding and stability, of realizing that maybe up to this point, that energy of kind of doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that and not being stable or dependable has maybe not allowed you to build effectively or be able to give you the clarity as to really where to invest your time and energy in one structured way. Now, on the highest potential, I look at this as saying you can build and you can create a plan and start to build towards your legacy, but that you shouldn't get so focused on, it's kind of like getting lost, in the forest, not being able to see the forest through the trees, that you get so lost in the building of it that you forget to enjoy the process. And that's really when I saw that original message come through, the intuitive message that I got of, kids going down a water slide and being in this kind of fun, just lighthearted energy. That's the energy of the Knight of Wands, is that, sliding down a water slide and leaping into the deep end of the pool and just having fun. And that we can combine those two, just like Temperance over here. It doesn't have to be all work or all play. We're meant to enjoy both. And so I think that's kind of also what's coming through here, is that you can combine work and play. And by doing that, that's going to be where you are able to move with the flow of energy. So that's actually a great last point here to ask yourself. Where do you feel perhaps that you have to, that it's all or nothing between work and play? And then start to take a look at where you can possibly combine those two elements together, where you can take work and play and make it feel good. And I know that may sound difficult, but sometimes it's easier than we know. Sometimes we can make a game out of cooking dinner. Or we can, have fun bringing our kids with us into the workplace. There's these qualities where we can combine these two aspects, and that's actually where genius comes from. That's actually where these beautiful ideas that kind of come in out of nowhere, where innovation comes from, where we see something in a different way and we realize, wow, it doesn't have to be my career versus my family. My family can be a part of my career, or my career can be a part of my family. It doesn't have to be either or. And when we start to break down and be curious about what that could look like, that's when we open ourselves up to true opportunity. That's when the Spirit says, that's what I was trying to get you to see. And that's where those ideas come in and the fresh opportunities. All right, Cancer, I hope this has been an illuminating reading. Hope it's given you a lot to think about. I look forward to performing your love reading next week. And if you'd like to book a personal tarot reading with me, or a one-on-one coaching session, or live tarot reading, either way, it's kind of what those live sessions are for. The link to my website is in the description box below, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of August. Bye, Cancer.